You want to make good coffee at home. You're going to ask, how much does it cost? How much could you save? Is it even worth it? These questions and a few more answered in this video. Roll the intro. Hi, welcome back to the channel Coffee at Home. As you've probably gathered by now, this channel is about me making coffee at home. I try to make reasonably good coffee at modest prices as best I can, really, for my personal consumption. At the same time, it provides an interesting journey to experiment and play around, maybe taste coffees and that maybe you wouldn't normally try if you had to go outside to your favourite coffee shop every day. Okay, so what does a cup of coffee cost, and how can we possibly evaluate for everyone watching in different countries of the world? How can we know what it's going to cost, and is it worth it? Well, I did some quite intensive research on this. There was two things that came out of it. The first thing is that the majority of my viewers are based in the USA. So, hello America, today's about you. Secondly, the relationship between the price of equipment, good coffee beans, and the price of a cup of coffee in a coffee shop in other countries, the relationship between the cost of equipment and beans and compared with a cup of commercial coffee is pretty much the same as America. Yes, the prices may be different, but the relationship is the same. The first one is retail coffee. What does it cost? Well, we're basing it on an espresso-based Americano. We're basing it on a medium-sized cup. I think that's about 12 ounces. And we're basing it on chain coffee shops, the likes of a Starbucks, and there's many other brands, of course there are, selling reasonable quality coffee. 2 cups a day, 5 days a week. I think that's reasonable to assume that you're going to drink 10 cups of coffee a week. You may drink slightly less, you may drink a lot more. But for this purpose of this test, we're talking 10 cups a week. At $3.50, it's very easy to see that that's $35 US a week. That's how much you're going to spend on coffee. It sounds quite a lot when you look at it that way, but when you're drinking the coffee and you're having a couple of cups a day and you don't have a coffee every day maybe, or you only have 1 cup someday, it doesn't seem too much. But that's what you're doing, $35 a week. Okay, coffee at home. We're basing it on the same, 2 cups of coffee a day, buying a good quality bean. And from my research, the average cost of a pound of reasonable quality coffee beans in the States is about $16. 450 grams, that fits pretty well with other countries too, but we're talking about $16 US. That seems to be about an average. Yeah, sure, you can pay 10 times more than that for special coffees, and you can get budget coffees significantly cheaper. But we're all about averages here. The average is $16. I use about 15 grams in my Flair. We're going to allow 17 grams of coffee per cup of coffee. Based on the price of the coffee beans we've just said, is 60 cents. 60 cents per cup. Now we're going to add to that water, heating it up, just messing around, you might spill some or whatever. I'm going to allow you 10 cents for that. So 5 days a week at 70 cents per cup. That's $7 a week. $7, $35. Big difference, right? That's $28 a week saved if you make coffee at home. So to make coffee at home, what do you actually need to buy? So we're not talking espresso machines. You might need to spend $1,000 for a decent machine. I'm talking Flair Pro 3. So let's go through it. The first thing is you need a decent grinder. Now you can get a hand grinder. You can go up to an electric. I use a DF54. Good hand grinders start around $100, $100, and a DF54 and similar. So you need a grinder, $100 to $230. You can use an ordinary, straightforward $15 kettle. I prefer a swan neck kettle. You can have a standard one or temperature controlled. You can get a time more or something like that, a stag. Stags are expensive, but basically I'm going to allow $40 to $100 for a swan neck kettle, temperature controlled or otherwise. A Flair Pro 3, It's about $280. I've seen it as low as $260, and it comes with a case. It comes with a tamper, so it's a good value machine. But I'm going to also allow for accessories. You need maybe a little glass jugs, and you need bits and pieces and spoons, and I'm going to give you $65 to $100 for that. You'll need a scale of some sort, and you want a good scale. And with the Flair, you need one that's going to trigger when the coffee hits it and that sort of thing. So you're going to $65 to $100 is your budget for your accessories. That means the approximate cost of equipping yourself with usable quality equipment. It's going to be somewhere between $480 to $720. And I know what you're thinking, Jesus, that's like $700 plus. The average spend is $600 or so. What are the savings? Well, I can say this. If you're spending $35 a week on retail coffee, the cost saved per week, $28. If the average equipment cost is $660, the average weekly save of $28 is divided into the equipment. That gives you 24 weeks. Generally speaking, the setup cost should be recovered between 4 to 6 months. After 6 months, $7 a week. And that's buying reasonable beans, reasonable equipment, and you don't need an espresso machine. Espresso machines are expensive. You just need a good lever machine to get you in the ballpark. I know some of you will be looking at the V60 thinking, well, is that a cheaper option? It's definitely a cheaper option. The equipment cost is a lot less. I mean, Time More do a complete set. It's got a hand grinder, and I'm not saying it's the best quality, but it's certainly acceptable, about $250. You can recover the cost of a V60 setup in about 3 or 4 months. Okay, so you've seen the video so far. You've seen how I've broken it down. Okay, so there are, in summary, some outstanding questions. The main one being, can you save money making coffee at home? Absolutely yes. Is the quality of coffee you make at home going to be as good as an outside coffee shop, whether that's an independent or a chain? I would say absolutely yes. It's entirely under your control, and whilst there is an element of using a few beans to experiment with to get it right, it's well worth it, and the quality of coffee arguably is as good, if not better, in some instances. But we're talking everyday coffee here, not special occasion. The third is the barrier to entry, is the equipment cost. Is it prohibitive? Sure, there are other alternatives. V60 is one. It's not espresso based, but you can get some really good pour over V60 coffee. Espresso coffee, yes, there is a much higher cost, but I've shown you here that you can recover that cost quite quickly. Overall, is it worth it? I think absolutely yes. You can get involved as much or as little as you really want. If you just want a reasonable cup of coffee 3 days a week, you can still do it yourself, and it's still an interest. But ultimately, go for it. Make your coffee at home. If you're in any doubt but you're interested, just do it. Start with a V60 if you want, but work your way into espresso if that's what you like. And experiment. You know, you can do cold espresso, you know, coconut milk. Experiment with lattes, you know, maybe oat milk and ristrettos. There's a whole world out there for that type of thing. So with that, enjoy your coffee. I'll see you in the next video. Not sure what it's going to be about yet, but please like, subscribe and share the videos. I really appreciate feedback so far, and I'd like to grow this channel this year, and hopefully I can share much more with you and we'll grow it together. So with that, thanks very much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Enjoy your coffee.